There's a lot of people that want love that don't find it. Does that mean your life is worthless? Does that mean you haven't accomplished something because you don't have a husband or a wife or kids? So your life only has meaning if someone puts a ring on your finger. That's not true. It's a lie that your happiness resides in some man's pocket. It's a lie.
So many women worry and have that whispering thought that maybe I'm gonna die alone, or maybe I should settle, maybe I'm too picky. But you didn't. You held your ground and found real love at 53. So for any woman that's listening right now that just believes that she's too old, it's too late for them, how on earth did you still believe in love, but make sure you never settled for anything less?
I don't see myself as a confident person so much as I see myself as an authentic person. So I think when you move through life 100% yourself, there's nothing to be afraid of, because they either like you or they don't. You know what I mean? You're either gonna get the job or you're not. You're either gonna find the love or you're not. It takes away all the heaviness of it. I don't worry about what anyone thinks I should be. I'm just who I am. So you take that and put that in the love space. It's tough out there. Everybody knows it's hard to find someone that sees you and who you see. But am I gonna find him if I'm not myself? Am I gonna really find the one that's right for me if I'm tweaking and changing who I am? And if I have to tweak and change who I am to be chosen, am I really being chosen by the right one? So once that crystallized, that I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna be exactly who I am. I'm a goofball, I'm a weirdo, I'm all of these things. I'm gonna take it out in the world. And for about 25 years, every man was like, I'm good, no thanks. And so I was like, well, what do? Do I become what they expect me to be to try to get a man? Or do I just keep doing who I am and keep living my life and hope that when it's the right time, if it's ever the right time, he'll come? And this is the other part of it. I talked about this on Wendy Williams' show years ago. It's probably 8 or 9 years ago now. I was about 45, 46, single, had been single for forever. And right when I sat down, and this is not to disparage Wendy, I think this is just what society is. As soon as I sat down, she was like, so, you're getting up in age. When are you gonna get somebody for yourself?
Do you feel pressure? Like, cause you're in your mid-40s.
How dare you?
You got, no.
You're adding allegedly before you say my age on television. Allegedly, Wendy. Don't nobody know?
And I was like, what is happening? How did we get here? And I said, well, you know what, Wendy, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think society tells women of a certain age that something is wrong with them if they haven't got their husband and their kids yet. What if there's something wrong about the men that are approaching them? Maybe it's not the woman. So when you change that, then everything opens up. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman who decides to wait for the one her heart loves. And that is the decision I made. So if I met a guy and he was mean, or I met a guy and he was a narcissist, or I met a guy and he was abusive, I'm like, it's not you. And I love myself enough to be okay with being by myself as opposed to being with this, right? And that's not every man, but it's important to find the man that's right for you. And I also felt like God had given in so many ways. Like I was blessed to have a career in this industry. I was blessed to be healthy. I was blessed to have a loving family. I almost felt like, well, I'm kind of rude to ask him for love too. You know what I mean? Like I made my peace with it, like, because everybody that's wonderful doesn't leave here with a mate. There's a lot of people that want love that don't find it, and that's a tough truth to say, but the point is, does that mean your life is worthless? Does that mean you haven't accomplished something because you don't have a husband or a wife or kids? What does that say? So your life only has meaning if someone puts a ring on your finger. That's not true. So I was fine being the one that modeled that. So if all I am in this world is a wonderful, kind, funny, great lady who has a wonderful career and great friends and family, and she's never married or any kids, but she's happy and she's doing no harm in the world, what's wrong with that? I can be that.
I love that so much. It's such a beautiful thinking. I'd love to go a little deeper though, because there's a couple of traps. As you were saying that story, I was like, okay, well, you have said that in your 20s you dreamt of getting married.
Oh yeah, I think every girl does.
Yeah, and so that idea of how you're gonna feel the day you get married is so strong.
Yeah.
Now, as you start to get older, you just said, after 20 years, 25 years, you have guys go, no, thank you.
Yeah.
What I think ends up happening is after year 1, after year 5, after year 7, when you have a dream, you start to negotiate. How do you then, in that moment, actually stay true? It's the difference between momentary happiness and long-term happiness. It's like ice cream.
Yeah.
Ice cream freaking tastes amazing.
It's amazing.
But if you've got diabetes,
Not
like
good.
you do, so
It's not good. You gotta
it is
put it
not
down.
good. So now think about that in a relationship.
Yeah.
In those moments where you really want to be with somebody, how do you stay grounded enough in your conviction to make sure that you don't morph yourself into being something other people want you to be?
All it takes is one really bad relationship. All it takes is you choosing to be inauthentic in order to keep a man or get a man. And I used to say, being in love is the most amazing feeling in the world. The second most amazing feeling in the world is when you don't love anybody. The angst is longing for it, really wanting it and not having it. The angst is in a relationship that's horrible. The two places that are really sweet are when you're not longing, when you're good, you love yourself, life is good, you're content with where you are, and also when you're deeply in love. Those are the two best places to be. So in my mind, I always said, I may not have the love of my life, but I have to find a way to love this body and this person that I'm going to do my entire life with. I'm blessed to be married now, but I'm only going to do this entire life with me. Right? I hope I can get a good hot 30 with Tony. If me and Tony can make it to 30 years together, great. But I'm going to be with Yvette, this chick, forever. So at around 25 or 30, I was like, can you fall in love with you? Can you start to really like you, whether you have pimples or not, whether you're fat or not, whether you have diabetes or not? Can you find a way to love the person you see in the mirror and to be her best friend and to celebrate her and support her? And that's what got me through the 20 or 25 years that I was single. And I had enough friends that were abused, brokenhearted, cheated on, lied to. A few had a couple of marriages, and they weren't better off because they had sold themselves out by choosing random dudes. If they had had success stories, by denying who they were and just choosing a guy to choose a guy, then I might have taken that route. But my friends were very honest. They were like, girl, stay single until it's right. Stay single until it's right. And so after you get to a certain age, you have to then let the baby thing go, right? So at a certain point, I was like, I'm aging out of being able to be a mom. And then you have to grieve that, because if you dreamed of being a wife and a mother at a certain point when you can't be a mom by birthing a baby, if that was your choice, you got to grieve that. And that's okay to say, it would have been great to have a little me somewhere, right? But then you go on to the next phase. Well, I won't birth a baby, but I can be a godmommy. I'm an amazing godmommy to my goddaughter, Ella. I helped raise her. She's 19 and thriving in college now. So I'm able to do it that way. And then if I want to adopt or get a surrogate, I can still do all of those things. So we understand that that's not going to happen naturally with my body. But we've made peace with that, and maybe it'll come another way. And then it becomes, as I'm moving into my later years, I want companionship. I do want to have somebody with me, but I have no control over when that man comes. So I always decided, Lisa, I don't want to be in torment. I refuse to be in torment. My natural set point is joy. I believe that hope springs eternal. I am not going to live my life as a funeral dirge. So the only way I can control that is deciding this is not the worst thing in the world. It all begins in the mind. So I looked around my life. I'm like, I'm healthy. I'm successful. I have my own money. I can take care of myself. I have a loving group of friends that I'm doing life with. My family's great. I'm taking care of my daddy. What am I missing? If this is all there is, I'm going to let that be enough, and not in a depressed, getting up every morning like, I'm by myself. I would get up every morning like, what does this day hold? What can I do that will make things great for me? That does not mean that there weren't times when I was lonely, or in those 25 years, I didn't see a friend get married and go, it's great for her. I have a wonderful friend, my friend Erin. She and I have this thing called Happy for You, Sad for Me. And so that means we are able to fully 100% celebrate our friends' wins. And at the same time, we hold space to go, but it doesn't diminish how happy we are for each other, or how happy we are for that friend that had their third kid, or bought their house, or found their husband. We can be there for them and still hold space to go, So I will call Erin and go, happy for you, sad for me. And she knows exactly what that is. And then she's big enough where she can step back from her joy and tend to me as a friend and go, sis, you want to talk about it? How do you feel in this moment? And I also am making sure that they know that just because I now have my husband, I ain't figured anything out. I don't know better than them about love. I don't understand why it took 53 years for me and it might take 55 years for them, or why some of them got married at 25 and I didn't get married to 53. I don't even worry about how all that works. My goal is to just continue to model love and acceptance and joy, and to be able to be there for my friends wherever they are in their journey, as they have always been for me.
God damn, girl. Where do I even start? I mean, that was so powerful. And here's why. All right, guys, we'll be right back with Yvette Nicole Brown. But just for a second, if this or any other Women of Impact episode has brought you value, has allowed you to build your self-esteem, your confidence, so that you can set boundaries and stand up for yourself, then smash that subscribe button down there, because you have no idea. It becomes the calling card for all women that this is the place. And then also you get notifications so that you're the first to watch these episodes and learn the lessons. So smash that subscribe button down there. Thanks for listening. Now, back to the episode. If all women had that mindset, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Like you said, all it takes is one toxic relationship.
Just
all it
one.
takes is, yeah. And when I think about how many of us lower the bar, end up with somebody that all the way from just isn't right for us to extremely toxic and breaks our heart and wrecks our lives and dangerous, there's so much in between. So you said at one point, so at around 30, you're like, okay, how do I love me? How do I really turn inwards? I think that is one of the most beautiful places to start, because I think when you don't love yourself, I'm just gonna speak for myself.
Yeah.
I didn't love myself when I was younger. I was bullied and teased. And so the second a guy showed me affection and attention, I felt good about myself for the first time in my life. And that was intoxicating. And what I did is I connected it to my boyfriend.
It's right.
And so without him, I no longer have that confidence.
That's
and I think that's where it starts to then spiral. So the first question I have is, were you ever in a toxic relationship that led you to having that empowerment mindset?
I learned at a really young age that I don't let other people define what's great about me, right? When I moved to Warrensville when I was a kid, there was a group of people that were super duper popular. Like, they were perfect, they were beautiful, they had the right clothes, they were dating the right boys, all of that. And I was not that. But I always was wondering, why do they get to choose who's cool or important or special or who matters? And I thought, they don't even really know me. And they've decided that I'm not worthy. But I know me, and I know I'm a good person, and I'm a good friend, and I'm smart. So I'm going to decide that I'm cool. And I'm going to invite anyone else who wants to decide they're cool to join me. And we're going to be our own little ragtag group of misfits. And we're going to make sure anybody that wants to sit with us can sit with us. Anyone that wants to hang with us can hang with us. And so I think because I had that experience at 10 years old, 10 to 12, that I just took that with me when I came to LA, because LA is the same thing. You come into this big pond and everybody's perfect and beautiful, and they're the cool kids and they're the Hollywood elite. And I'm like, well, y'all have a good time over there. Y'all just have a good time. I'm gonna be over here with the misfits. And I just rode the wave that way. And I'm still the same way. I have Oscar winners as friends, but they're regular folk. You talk to them, they're just regular. So you can cultivate a life where what is special and unique about you is celebrated. Now, the way that goes into the love space is, if I've decided that I know that I'm a good person and I deserve love, as soon as I bump into someone, the worst relationship I had, this guy love bombed me, like, from the day we met. It was like, oh, you're great, we're great, we're great. And it wasn't that I needed him to affirm that I was great, but I was like, oh, maybe it's you. I've been waiting all these years, you know, you seem to think I'm fetching and you seem like you're a nice guy. And then I was off to the races. But then he switched, right? He was real nice and wonderful for a good month. And then I met the other one. And the other one was mean. And the other one was angry. And the other one was dismissive. And I remember in the midst of it, I was like, I did it. I climbed the mountain. I have a guy that wants to be with me. He even said that he wanted to marry me. First time anyone had ever said that to me. And I looked at my life and I said, I could marry him and this would be my life. And I didn't like my life with him. I didn't like what my life would be with him. And I contrasted that with how lovely and fun and wonderful my life was when I wasn't with him. And I thought, well, I'm gonna choose me. I'm gonna choose that version of my life. And even if that version of my life means that I don't have a mate, but I'm happy and I'm able to show up in spaces with content and with joy, instead of feeling downtrodden and beat down. Because this guy would do things like, he would wait until a really important thing was about to happen for me. I remember I was nominated for the first time for an NAACP Image Award.
Congratulations.
Thank you, honey. He picked a fight with me at the hotel as I was getting ready to go to this big night. And so he completely got in my head. And then as we're walking out of the hotel room to get the car to go to the event, he holds his hand out to hold my hand because cameras are around. And I was like, you're not gonna abuse me and then fix your face before we walk outside. That's not authentic to who I am, and that's not the life that I wanna lead. And I also don't wanna be in a relationship where on my biggest day, you're so threatened that you have to tear me down. Where I am with Tony now, when me and Tony have a big day, we are two kids so excited. I celebrate him, he celebrates me. We support each other, we encourage each other. He would never think of tearing me down on a great day or any other day. But I think it's something really insidious to wait till someone has a really important day and he knows that you need to be on your game and he messes with you before you're walking out the door. So your whole day you're kind of walking around like, I saw it and I didn't want it.
Okay, there's so much in the story that you just said. I'd love to actually break it down. So number one, you said that at school you were looking at the cool kids. You're like, hang on a minute, I can do that. I can like build my own little group of like us misfits. So there's, I think it's a surfing analogy where if you look at like where you don't want to go, you end up crashing and burning and you end up going in exactly that direction.
Absolutely.
If you actually look at where you do want to go, then you can actually progress there. So when I thought about that moment where instead of you looking at the other group, I want to be part of that, you actually went internal, was like, I'm going to build the group myself.
Absolutely.
So that focus, I think, is beautiful. I think that probably did set the foundation for you. Then the second part, you really establishing, who am I? What do I represent? And instead of comparing yourself to that, you started to focus on, let me build myself. What does that look like? Who do I want to show up to be? So that's super powerful. And then the last part is when you then meet somebody that I think ends up derailing a lot of us women.
Absolutely.
You didn't get derailed. You saw it for what it was. And that is a type of insight I think a lot of us women would like from the get-go. So we don't end up heartbroken, destroyed by this relationship.
And I mean, honestly, it was a point where I was like, I don't know if he really even loves me. You know what I mean? Because you don't treat people that you love poorly. So how could he love me? And that was my hero origin story, because I chose to believe what I knew about myself and what I knew about what I deserved, right? Now, you can know what you deserve and never get it. But it's still important for you to know what you deserve. And that lines up with the idea of everybody on this planet will not find their mate. And I know that sounds horrible, but it's really not, as long as you find you. Because again, you are the one that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So as long as you know who you are and you're not doing any harm and you're not moving through life, destroying people and making things hard for other people, then is it really so bad that you go through life taking care of you? And it's worse to let someone else come in and tell you who you are and treat you however they want to treat you, and you not know that this is not my portion. You got to know what your portion is. I remember I worked a corporate job and we had this thing, she would bring out a ball of like confetti, and it was string and confetti and glitter, and she called it a ball of yuck. So she would pass the bowl around the room and you had to scoop out, as we're having a team building exercise, you scoop out your portion of yuck. And you pick it up and you go, sometimes I'm not always kind in my email responses. I could probably be a little kinder when I say something in the email. So that's my yuck, right? Then you pass the bowl to the next person. So the next person goes, I really don't like how Yvette, you got to get your yuck out of there. That's not my yuck. That's not my portion. So as you go through life, you have to understand, what is my portion? Is my portion love? Is my portion acceptance? Is my portion joy? That's my portion. So that means I don't let anybody take my love, acceptance, and joy from me. And so when I was in that relationship with him, I want to be clear, I didn't know immediately that he was wrong for me. I did about 10 months in that. But that 10 months was enough. And once it clicked, he is not the one for me. And this is not disparaging him as a person. There is somebody for him. It's not me. But what I learned in that experience is he's not good for me. And there either is someone good for me or there isn't. But I will not settle for anyone that is not good for me. And conversely, that I can't be good for. I will end a friendship because I don't wish them well. Doesn't matter if they wish me well. If I cannot celebrate you and what you do because I see something in you that is like, ugh, I'm gonna leave you to it. I don't do fake friendship. I don't do patty cake friendship. If I call you friend, you are my friend. I will give you a kidney if we're a match, right? But at the same time, I don't let you patty cake with me. So if I feel that you're not for me, and I won't disparage you, I won't talk about you, I wish you well over there. And it was the same way with this guy. I wish you well over there. Because what we have here, what we're building here is joyful and it's loving and it's encouraging and it celebrates big moments. It doesn't tear people down in big moments. And if you can't meet me here and we can't do this with love and joy, we can't do this.
Okay, there's a pivotal moment in that story that you just shared, which is beautiful. And you said it took you 10, 11 months and eventually clicked. That's one of those pivotal moments.
Yeah.
And I'm freaking obsessed with the movie Sliding Doors.
Oh!
The idea of
One decision.
One decision.
Step, one door you walk through.
your life can be completely
Changes.
different. So when you said, I realized over time and it just clicked, for many women, it doesn't click. And the fact that it clicked for you is exactly what allowed you to leave that relationship, keep developing yourself in order to then find love at 53. But so many women don't find that click, or we ignore the click.
I think everybody finds the click. I just think it clicks too late for a lot, right? There are women that have been married 25 years and then they finally leave the person when the kids go off to college or whatever. So who knows when they realized this guy wasn't right for them. They just decided to stay. But I feel like there's a certain point in your life for every person where you have to just accept that you get one life. You get one. And sadly for women, from the time we're born, we're given baby dolls and we're playing with our Barbies and there's a kin and it's the Barbie wedding gown and you got to get married. It's put in us from the time we're born that our lives begin when the prince comes. You have to literally work diligently against that lie, because it's a lie. Because honestly, there's so many women in their 30s and 40s who have not been found or chosen. I refuse to believe that the last 30 or 40 years of their life has been for nothing. So you're getting up, building a life every day because someday some man is going to make it a life. There's a quote by John Lennon that says, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. And every single day, your life is happening. I refuse to be miserable. I refuse. And of course, when you're in your 20s and you don't know yet that it's a lie, you are chasing it. But once it clicks in that it's a lie, there is no timetable. There is no, if you don't have it by this time, you have failed. Every time you wake up, every day you wake up and you're still breathing, it's another chance for your life to change for the better in 1,000 different ways. And you either believe that when you wake up or you don't. Make every day an adventure. And maybe one day you'll walk out and he'll be there. But what if he isn't? Find something else that brings you that feeling. Make sure you cultivate a life that you can celebrate and enjoy. And every single day you get to do that. It is never too late to make the life that you want to live. And if you are blessed to meet the guy, yay. But make sure you have a life that whether you meet him or not, you still are happy. And it's possible. It's a lie that it's not possible. It's a lie that your happiness resides in some man's pocket. It's a lie. And it's important for me to talk about it now because I am married. So it's easy to say before you're married, I'm now married and I can still say, it's okay to be single. It's okay to wait for the right one. It's ideal, in my mind, to wait for the right one, no matter how long it takes.
Dude, I love how freaking strong you are in your conviction.
Absolutely.
Coming up.
We're in such a box, so we can't say we want love. We can't say that we're happy that we're single. We can't say that we're happy when we find someone. We're not apparently supposed to declare what we want or show any joy when we get it.
If you're a content creator, then you already know the hustle. You pour your soul into every single interview, every video, and then you blink and realize you spent hours, literally hours, just trying to clip something for social. Like, seriously, it takes longer to edit than it does to actually hit the record button. But here's the thing, we can't not to post on social, right? Staying visible, staying relevant, growing your brand. It all rides on getting those clips out there. That's why you've got to go and check out Opus Clip. It's your new secret weapon, my homie. Their Clip Anything feature is a game changer, turning your long form videos into short, scroll stopping content automatically. It's more content, less stress, and zero burnout. So if you're freaking tired of drowning in edits, trust me, you need to go and try Clip Anything by Opus Clip. It's super easy to use and you can try it totally free for the next few weeks when you click the link in the show notes. So don't sleep on this, my homie. Go and get it right now by clicking the link. Okay, so let's actually address then, because I was the same. I was like, man, Disney freaking screwed us women out.
Kind of did.
Like,
Love the mouse, but man.
I know, I love Disney movies, but it really did screw us up.
Yeah.
So can you take me through, if you don't mind? You said it finally clicked for you. What were those internal things, if you remember and can articulate, that over time started to become the red flag, if you will? Because I'm always thinking about the woman at home that doesn't realize, that may not know she's caught up in an ideology of that relationship.
I feel like you have to know what feels right to you, right? That's the first thing. I'm an introvert, so I have the ability to be alone. This is the other thing, to be fair, I need to say that, because I say I was single for 20 some years, and that might strike fear in someone that's an extrovert because they need the stimulation of people. As an introvert to my core, I really don't. So that probably made me perfectly set to be single as long as I was single. So to be fair, let me say that. But even in my introvertedness, there's a level of peace that I require, right? I'm not an agitator. I'm an agitator when it comes to social issues. I really am an elbow thrower and a pot stirrer when it comes to things that matter in the world. But as far as where we go to dinner or what we watch on television, I'm not one of those nitpicky people that just taps people's nerves. I'm not that person. So I knew that I could not be with someone that was an agitator. So as soon as I realized that I was really great until he would say or do something, I was like, what? I was good. I literally was just chilling, watching Netflix, and you came in here and changed the whole environment of this room. That happened so many times that I was like, oh, he's trying to destroy me. Like, he sees my peace and doesn't want me to be peaceful, or he sees me joyous and doesn't want me to be joyous. That's a problem. So once you peep that someone is coming in and altering your natural set point, that person's not for you. But the thing is, you have the programming of society saying, but at least you're not alone. At least you got somebody. But what do I have? Who is the somebody that I have? That's like being friends with someone, but she talks bad about you when you're not around. She steals your clothes and doesn't bring them back. She lies on you and tells people things that she records your conversations. Yes, you have a best friend, but do you have a best friend? So the question becomes, yes, you have a relationship, but do you have a good relationship? So in my mind, once you realize that this person does not love you and tend to you the way you love and tend to them, what you doing? And the other thing, the other piece of the puzzle that helped me, I have married friends that are very honest. I have one married friend who's very honest about being married and having children. And she's been married almost 30 years now. There's been times through the years where I asked her once, I said, would you change anything about your life? And she said she would go back and never meet her husband. Said it with a straight face. And I said, well, that means you wouldn't have your daughter and your son. She said, I know. And I was like, girl. And she was like, understand, I can't go back in time. And I love my daughter and my son, right? But at the same time, knowing what I know now, if I had it to do all over again, I would be, in New York as a magazine editor. I'd be in London as a personal shopper. She had dreams for her life that were not fulfilled in the path she chose. Now, this is not against all motherhood. This is this individual woman who, if she had the chance to do it again, she would have done it different. But she was honest with me about it. So she told me, so if you are happy as an actress in LA with no responsibilities but your dog and your dad and taking care of your life, you're good. So that reminded me, if somebody on the other side of marriage is saying it's not the be all and end all, and I am comfortable as a single person, then that means I can wait. Because she's telling me just picking somebody is not the answer either, right? So
It's beautiful that you had to friend that
I
honest. Because I don't
appreciated
think,
her.
yeah, I don't think women are enough, because I think that there's so much shame that they will then carry with themselves to be like, oh my God, what does this mean about me as a mother? What does this mean about me as a wife? And what I actually love about that story, like, I really hope more women are honest, because it doesn't mean that you don't love your children.
Nope.
To your point, you can't go back and change things. But A, she's empowered you with insight that you may not have had, which is why I actually love it when mothers, like some mothers, because I don't have children either, where they're just like, hey, if you have kids, let me tell you all the crap that goes with it. Because I don't want you just to see me cuddling my kid, that one photo where the kid looks really sweet, and now you think like, oh my God, I'm missing out on motherhood, without actually understanding the dynamic of what it brings.
Absolutely. This is the beautiful thing. My friend that shared that about her husband and her daughter and her son, she's a great mother and she's a great wife. She was just being honest about if she had it to do over again, she would have chosen something different for herself. And if there is any beauty in how long it took for me to find my guy, I fully know what it's like to be a single woman. So I can speak with authority about what it's like to be a single woman through her 30s and her 40s. And I'm able to leave breadcrumbs for those that are in it to say, it's really okay. And then also to tell them, don't give up the dream if you still have the dream. I just say, don't let the dream destroy you. Don't let the dream make you feel like your life is worthless. Because they don't do it to men. There are men that are in their 50s, no kids, never been married.
Oh, they're handsome bachelors is what they're referred to as.
Forever. Just sow your oats and figure it out. They don't act as if something is wrong with him because he hasn't found his wife. Or for some reason, if a woman is a certain age and she's not married, oh my God, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with what we tell young girls? What's wrong with the way men treat women? Some men, not all men, some men. So I think it's not a good feeling to feel as if you've missed it because you don't have these things checked off.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's interesting you said missed it, because it does feel like the train's coming,
get
it's
it.
about to leave the station.
It's musical chairs. It's
Yeah.
like the music is ending and now you're elbowing people out of the way to get the one last chair. There is enough chairs. They'll bring in more chairs.
That's a great analogy.
There's enough chairs, yeah.
Oh God, that's such a... Okay, so help me reconcile
Yes.
then everything you said. I actually also heard you in an interview saying it's okay to say if you're desperate.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that, because that actually like caught me off guard. So what do you mean by that?
It's okay to say that you do want love. I think there's a lot of people, I think there's this toughness that a lot of women, and I understand why we get it, because we are asked about when are you getting married or when are you having kids so much that you get tough and you're like, well, I don't need a man. It's okay to say I'd like to be in love. It's okay to say, I believe it's great to have a companion and I'd like to have a companion. I think the word desperate has weight to it that I didn't mean when I said it. I didn't mean that in a bad way.
No, I didn't perceive it, by the way. It just meant almost the depth of how much you may want love, it's okay to say.
Absolutely. I think, first of all, anyone that's ever been in love or been loved, it's a really wonderful feeling. It's great to know that someone thinks highly of you and they want to do things to make you happy and they get joy in seeing joy in you. There is nothing wrong with that. So why is it a bad thing to say, I'd like that? Yes, please. Like we talked about the ice cream analogy earlier. You see some delicious ice cream? I would like some ice cream, please, in moderation if you have the diabetes. But I would love ice cream. We're in such a box, so we can't say we want love. We can't say that we're happy that we're single. We can't say that we're happy when we find someone. We're not apparently supposed to declare what we want or show any joy when we get it. Again, it's another box that they put us in. My mother used to always say, a closed mouth don't get fed. So if you're walking through life and you want love, but you act as if you don't, then the man that's checking you out and going, gosh, it'd be great to get to know her, he's thinking, well, she must have somebody, right? All you have to do is say, I would love the right man in my life. And if that makes me desperate, then I'm desperate. But I don't think there's anything wrong with saying I would like the right man, not any man, the right man.
I love that so much. That's so beautiful. Because I definitely would have, I think, slipped into that, because it's easier to protect yourself from saying I don't want it and then not get it than saying you want it and not get it.
I had a wonderful pastor, Pastor Kenneth Ulmer from Faithful Central. He's retired from the ministry now, but he used to say, you can either reveal yourself and risk heartache or conceal yourself and risk loneliness. It is a risk either way. How real is that? So the bottom line is you pick your poison. So I'm going to be tough and strong and not tell anybody I want love in my life when I really do, and then spend the rest of my life alone, not because I'm not amazing, but because nobody knew that my dance card was empty. Or do I want to just say, I would really love love and still keep living your beautiful life? And then at least you know that the men that would love to be with someone like you realize that you're available. There's something magical in saying, I would like love. Now, there's some of my friends that are amazing that they're like, I don't want anybody to know that I'm desperate. But you are. And why is it a bad thing to be desperate for love? You're not desperate for crack. It's for love.
It's
beautiful, right? You're not longing for something that is detrimental to you or another. You're longing for something that will build your life up and make you more joyous. It's a beautiful thing. And your person could be right around the corner.
I love everything you've said, by the way. It's
I
just
love
so
everything
beautiful.
you say, honey bun.
Like, a lot of it has come down to, I think, you building the foundation of knowing who you are, what you want, what your boundaries look like, what your non-negotiables look like, and standing true and being true to those things.
Yeah.
So in thinking through that, I think a lot of people, even if you've done that work, you get to your 30s, your 40s, you realize, I actually don't want anyone toxic in my life, so I'm going to do me, and you focus on yourself. I've seen two paths. One, like yours, you focus on yourself, you do you say you want love, you're open to it. When it comes, you're like, this is my man.
Yeah.
The other side, though, is more heartbreaking. The other side is you become more dogmatic in who you are, and you're so worried about someone coming in and destroying that you're no longer open to a relationship, or you're so closed off that now you no longer give people the chance to come in and prove that they're right.
Well, you know, I think therapy helps a lot too. I think it's really important to talk to somebody to find out what your childhood traumas are and childhood triggers are, because we're all just kids replaying what we went through when we were younger. And whether you believe you're worthy or not, a lot of times that the seeds of that were planted when you were very young. I do know friends that are like, well, I've given up, I've tried. And that's coming from a place of sadness. That's not real. Okay, let me say this. As an actor, I decided when I was younger, when I first started out, that it would take 100 no's to get a yes. So this is a game I would play with myself. So that made every rejection less terrifying and less devastating, because I'm like, well, there's 79. And I would always book something before the 100th rejection, always. I usually would book it around 32 or 12, whatever. It was different numbers, but I always made it there. So, but in saying that it takes 100 no's to get a yes, I prepared myself for it being rough. I prepared myself for it being tough. And I saw it as just part of the journey. So that can also translate in the love space. What if you tell yourself, I'm gonna have to go out with 10 guys that are just not right for me at all, right? So when you get to the 9th person, you're like, well, there he is. So the next one is gonna be my guy. It's little games that you can play with yourself so that you don't close yourself off completely. The beauty of it is, it just takes one person. One. So everybody doesn't have to think you're beautiful. Everyone doesn't have to think you're funny. Everyone doesn't have to think you're nice. One. Then I had reached a point where probably around 47, 48, where I was like, it's probably not gonna happen for me. And how do I feel about that? Because again, I'm an introvert, so I sit with my stuff. I'll journal, And I was like, well, I don't love it. I don't love it, primarily because I think I have a lot of love to give, and I think I'm a really good girlfriend. Like when I have a guy in my life, I'm really loving and fun and silly and let's dance in the frozen food section. Like I'm that chick. And so I was kind of sad that I wouldn't get to be silly with someone for the rest of my life, because I just love being silly. And then once I accepted it.
How did you accept it before you move on? Because that's actually a really powerful piece.
I accepted it because there was nothing I could do about it. There are things in life that you can control. I can decide to grow my hair. I can decide to go to the gym every day. I can decide to eat delicious Quest bars instead of a candy bar. These are decisions that I can make. I can decide what car I'm going to get, what city I'm going to live in. All of these things I can decide. I cannot decide if the right man is going to cross my path. So what am I going to do with that information? Am I going to now be devastated and disgusted and sad every day of my life? Or am I going to look around and realize how blessed my life truly is? And I'm a person of faith. So either I believe God is in control and has a good plan for my life, or I don't. And I have to also believe in that mindset. If I was supposed to have him in my life right now, I would. So apparently, for those years that I was single, it wasn't the right time for him to be in my life. And then once you find out who my husband is, he couldn't have been in my life anyway because he was married to somebody else during that time.
Yeah.
So if he was destined always to be my husband, but he married somebody else in his 20s, then that meant if he's my guy, which he is, that meant singleness for me for 20 years. But what did I do with that singleness? How did I fill that singleness? And I had a very full, rich, wonderful life, and I still do. Tony is an additive. He's addition, right? But he's not the entire equation. I built a really lovely life that Tony is a beautiful part of. In the same way, I'm now a beautiful part of his life with his sister and his brother and his sons. So all of that is wonderful, but we are additives to each other. We were full human beings, loving, kind, fulfilled human beings. And we are now together being more fulfilled, right? Additive. You know what's so funny? I have heard people say my entire life, and when I say it, people watching are gonna be like, girl, I'm tired of it too. When you know, you know. I was like, shut up. I heard when you know, you'll know so many times, and I was like, it's dumb because how many times did I think it was the guy and it wasn't the guy? But now I know, I thought it was the guy. I didn't know it was the guy. And when they say you'll know when you know, what they mean is that there is a peace that surpasses all understanding. And when you meet the one that was made for you, you're not checking his texts. Every woman has done this, I think. We get a text from a guy we like. It doesn't make sense to us for some reason. We screenshot it and we send it to the trust, the brain trust, our group of friends. It goes to the group chat. So he said this, what does it mean? I have a theory. If you've ever done that with someone you're dating, it's not him. Because when it's him, there's no confusion. There's no chaos. There's no what does this mean? Because when a man is about it with you, he is very clear. I would like to see you this evening. Are you free? I would like to take you out to dinner. Are you able to go? I will be calling you today at 6 o'clock. Will you be home? He is like this. And Tony was like this. And Tony was like this platonically. When he came back in my life as a friend, he said what he meant. If he said he was going to call me, he called me. If he said he was going to do something, he was going to do it. If he said something to me, I had no question. I never had to ask my friends anything about this man. Every other man, girl, Tony, it was clear. I just knew. So once you know, the question of how you know just goes out the window because you can't explain it. You just know, oh, it's you. One day it just hit with Tony. I was like, oh, it's you. And it's always been you. I've known him since I was 27 years old. It was always him. He was always the prototype. He was always the one that my heart loved, right? We couldn't be together because he was married and I would never. I believe in love and if I want it for me, I'm not going to take it from you. I would never do that. So he was always just a platonic friend, but my heart always was like, Tony's great. Tony's funny.
When you're like, I want to meet someone like Tony.
I want somebody like Tony. If Tony could be cloned, can somebody clone Tony? You know, and I joked about this. I talked about this even at my wedding reception. I had two friends, my friend Erin and my friend Janine. They both met Tony at the same time I did. And they reminded me through the years, once he came back in my life and we started dating, they reminded me that through my life, I would meet a guy and they go, is he funny like Tony? No, he's not funny like Tony, but he's funny. Is he cute like Tony? He's not as cute as Tony. And I would just say it, not longing for Tony, just realizing that this guy that I met 10 years ago at the time or 20 years ago at the time was really my kind of guy. So if I could just find a guy like Tony, and God was like, no, it's Tony. It's him.
I love that, God. And then the idea that the green flag is when you don't have the confusion.
That's the green flag. When you don't have red flags, that's the green flag.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you get married, so you're 53 years old.
53 years old.
That's, girl, you just look amazing. And freaking,
Well-
and we were saying earlier, like, how much do we love aging?
I love aging.
I love aging
because the
too.
alternative is death.
Yeah, you're screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, you either age or you're out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. So bringing someone into your life now at this age, what adjustments have you had to negotiate that maybe you didn't like at first and that you were a bit resistant to? Because I'm always trying to think, what are the things my community struggles with?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I hear a lot is that I'm now in my 50s And letting someone in my life will mean me having to change, also mean me having to adapt,
Yeah.
right? Because it is a 50-50. And there's a lot of resistance there because you've now spent the last 53 years with yourself,
Yeah.
with your own habits, not having to negotiate things.
Yeah.
And so that moment can become very daunting, I think, on a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think it can actually be a detriment sometimes to people's relationships when they're resistant.
Right.
But there is a fine line between being resistant and then giving yourself completely over to that and
Right.
no longer recognizing who you are.
Right. I want to say this first. To clear the record, I did not have a lot of options when I was younger. So it wasn't like I never...
But that's because you even said earlier that I'm going to call you on it, girl. You said it's because I refused to mold into someone
Absolutely.
I wasn't.
That's right. That's what I was about to say again. I remember seeing what women had to do to themselves to be chosen. Like in college, I was watching the compromises people were making. And this is not just, I'll go have pizza instead of Italian food. These were major compromises to their body and their spirit they were making to be able to say they had a boyfriend. And I decided back then, I'm not going to do that, right? So then as you get older, the other thing about the person that's right for you, I have not had to change who I am for Tony because Tony likes who I am. And I have not asked Tony to change who he is for me because I like who Tony is. Now, the thing that I have had to work on, and this is not a Tony thing, this is anybody that knows me will say this is my issue. This is my yuck. I'm very impatient. I talk fast, I walk fast, I move fast, I do things fast. I'm like, let's go. Let's go. I am 5'2". Tony is 5'11" or 12. I am the one pulling Tony because I'm moving so fast, boom, boom, boom. So Tony is like, can you just like, give me a minute? And it's the same thing my mother used to say. My mother used to say, have some patience for us mere mortals, Yvette. Mm-hmm. And so I'm learning to breathe and have patience because also when you're alone and you're moving fast, it doesn't matter. I'm not affecting anybody. I'm moving at my pace and it only affects me. I now have to be mindful of him. And now I will have a menopause break and turn on my fan.
Oh no, do you mind if we just keep filming this?
Let's keep filming it, absolutely. As long as it doesn't mess
so
up the
guys, if
mic.
you're listening to this and you hear a funny sound on the audio,
This
it is
is-
my girl. You literally came here like, Lisa, I'm having a hot flash. I was like,
said,
girl, I've got you a
listen.
fan. I'm going to go get it. So I love it.
Yes.
So let's just go into menopause.
Let's go into menopause.
So going from a relationship
Yes.
as you get older, between the age of 45 and 55
Yeah.
is the highest rate of suicide amongst women.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yep, because our hormones are changing, we don't recognize ourselves anymore, our estrogen plummets.
And no one talks about it,
No one
which is
talks
why
about
it's
it.
important that
You're
we're
more than
talking
welcome
about
to keep it on, by the way.
Oh,
I don't want you to.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
When I spits again, I'll put it back
Okay.
on.
And so thinking about that, and then the highest rate of divorce is
Really?
between that age because
Right.
women, especially women who've married younger, you serve everybody, you serve the family,
And
you
it's
serve
time
the
for you.
husband,
Yep.
and then your estrogen plummets, and now you're like, what about me? And so you end up somewhat coming back to your authentic self, is what my doctor,
I agree.
Dr. Mindy says. You come back to your authentic self. And I think a lot of the time when you come back to your authentic self, as you're 45, 50, you start to then realize what life you want.
Yeah.
But you've had the opposite.
Opposite experience.
So talk to me about going through the hormonal change at this age while getting married.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? I have been dealing with menopause symptoms for so long. I just, like most women, just believe that this is just your lot in life, right? They don't research us like they should. I'm Gen X, so my mother did not talk about. She handed me some pads and good luck with that when I first got my period. She never talked about what her menopause symptoms were. And so we really, in this age group, my age group, we don't know what it is, right? Now, I was going to white knuckle it through menopause because I grew up in the generation where they said that hormone replacement therapy gave you cancer. That was all I ever heard. So either you do that and you die of cancer, or you just white knuckle it and you're moody and sweaty and it's just horrible. I was like, well, I'm just going to be that. I'm going to be moody and sweaty. And then I started researching more because we're talking about it more and realized that hormone replacement therapy is safe. And there's 1,000 different ways you can do it. And you have to, of course, make sure that your body is what your comorbidities are, match up with what you choose as a therapy, right? So I just got on the patch. I am day 2 on the patch.
I feel like I need to congratulate you.
Hey, please congratulate me because I swear, Lisa, I put that patch on and I know it might be psychosomatic. I know it cannot be instantaneous, but I put that patch on and when I'm telling you like 2 hours later, I was like, I'm back. Like I was like, this is who I am. I went to Tony and I said, you are about to meet the real me and I am sorry for whoever you have been dating and married to this last 2 or 3 years we've been together. But I feel like he's about to finally meet me because I had dulled a little bit. I wasn't as sharp. I wasn't as joyous. I didn't have as much energy. My moods were a little bit, In these last 2 days, I have been so happy, so funny, so open, and I feel like I've gotten me back. So I am a proponent. Get the patch, get the spray, get the gel, get the cream. Ladies, do it.
Who are you? You were just saying though before we came on camera that you were talking to somebody. Who was it? And they're like, "You're talking about menopause." Okay,
so I have a friend. I will not say her name because she's an amazing, fabulous, amazing actress. I will not say her name. But me and Tony were at an event for Tyler Perry, and I'm sitting at a table with all these wonderful women, and this one, who's one of my idols, I got a hot flash, and I will pull out my fan, and I tell everybody, "Listen, y'all, this hot flash is wearing me out." And so I pull my fan out, and my friend goes, "Oh," she said, "You're in menopause?" I said, "Yeah, girl, I'm in menopause." She said, "And you're talking about it?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "It's so aggressive." I was like, "It's aggressive?" And she jokingly said, "Yeah, you and that Patti LaBelle just talk about it." She's friends with Patti LaBelle. And I was like, well, if I'm with Patti, I'm in good company, right?
I want to be in a club with Patti.
Patti LaBelle. And now, Halle Berry's talking about it. Again, going back to, I'm not going to be miserable. I'm not going to endure something that's hard that other people are enduring and find out how to make it better and not share it, right? So maybe it is a little gauche to be like, I'm having a hot flash, but if I'm going to go into a flop sweat at a table, I want people to understand why. I'm on set. When I'm working, I let people know, listen, I'm a woman of a certain age, I'm going through menopause. If you see me spitzing and you have a fan, you better get to me so you can save this shot. Yeah. I'm just telling you now. And so they'll see a little bead of sweat and I got 5 fans running in to make sure I'm okay because we got to make this day and my sweat is not going to be the reason we don't make it. So yes, and I'm 53. Nobody's surprised that I'm going through menopause.
No, I love that we're owning it. Like I really do. And especially as I'm starting to learn more and more about it and the fact that our parents and our grandparents never spoke about it. And so now understanding like what you're going through and then how it's going to impact your relationship, how you're going to show up differently, I think is so powerful. And us talking about it is going to help so many women. Yeah. And in my research, the more that I'm doing, so the idea that more divorces are happening during this age, that's a big flag for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad I know because now I can talk to my husband about it. We don't have kids, so instead of me giving my husband a children's book, I'm giving him a menopause book. So now he's reading up about it and we're doing this together. And one of the new things that I'm learning, again, I'm not a doctor, I've just read a lot of books about it, is I don't know, but did you know like depending on how many kids you've had, will either put you in early menopause or not, depending on what trauma you've had. If your mum has been had sexual trauma, the likelihood of putting you in early menopause is high. White women have symptoms around 6 to 7 years, but African American women and Hispanic women have symptoms going on 10 plus years. And in the studies, when they're going back to, when you think about it, your great grandparents in slavery, what that did to your biology, and then how that generational trauma then comes down through generations. So now I'm thinking about me and you sitting here talking about menopause. I'm like, I've gone through it for 4 years. And you're like, what the fuck? I've been doing it for 10 years. But then we end up feeling like we judge ourselves because of it.
Our bodies, because they don't research us, our bodies are such a mystery. And then you add, as a Black woman, they think that we're superhuman. So there are things that maybe a white woman going through menopause will be able to ask for and get from her doctor that they will assume that a Black woman doesn't need because we don't suffer like you guys do. We are stronger. We don't feel pain like you do. And that's why a lot of things that Black people go through, like if they have sickle cell disease and they go to the doctor and say, or the emergency room and say, I'm in pain, people think that they're there for drugs instead of that they have this disease that is primarily Black people. So there's things like that. So as we get older, our symptoms are not respected or studied as much, women in general and Black women. So I want to be one of the people that gets in front of it. In the same way I was one of the people that got in front of my singleness. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with women. And I think the only problem is we don't talk about it, so it's not seen as normal. And every single woman on the planet, if she has a uterus that works, at some point is going to go through menopause. But we don't talk about it.
Yeah, and the fact that even you saying about the going on the patch, I don't think medication is for everybody. Everyone should do really assess their own body. But I tried to do it without medication for a year. I gave myself a year, and I was like, I was getting the hot flashes, the brain fog.
The brain fog.
Can I share a little embarrassing story with you?
Yes.
I was on set interviewing someone, and I forgot their name.
Girl.
I've been researching them for 12 hours.
Yep.
And I was like, oh God, blank.
Yep.
So for the whole interview, I just kept calling them girl. Because I was like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
But here's the thing, apart from it being a little funny, it really knocked my self-esteem.
Yeah, it's scary, and it's scary.
It was scary, but it was more impacted on my self-esteem because I have been bullied when I was younger. And so I've really worked at finding places that I can build my self-esteem.
Yeah.
And I really mean build it, not be lucky, but like actually put in the work that every day. I've really put in the work to be a host. Like the amount of episodes and just time that I put in. Thank you, girl. But I've really practiced. So I've built my self-esteem. I'm the type of person that had no idea, was embarrassed to get in front of the camera, and now I'm here. Like that brings pride.
Right.
So now you can imagine I've built all this pride, and in one moment, I felt like it completely crumbled. Wow. Now I had to reassess. I had to go back. Okay, Lisa, one moment doesn't make or break you. But like when I think about how many women end up in those moments where they've built themselves and that now that really breaks who they are, I think it's 1 in 5 women end up quitting their jobs due to menopause symptoms.
Wow. Because they no longer feel like them. They no longer feel capable of doing what they do.
Yes.
Hot flashes are horrible. But
I feel like I need your fan now, actually.
You do? See?
Yeah, can you
see what? Absolutely. See? Get it in there, girl.
Sorry, sound people.
No, it happens. And the more we show this, the better we all are. But I feel like, and see, now I haven't had brain fog. Now I don't know.
We just need to like sit here with a fan.
Just with a fan. There's a lot of pride that comes from being a smart woman for me. And I have a lot of pride in not being the problem, right? And so when I'm on set, and I can't remember a line because I have brain fog, I've now become the problem. I am now costing them time while I go, oh my God, can I see my script? Because what's that line? So I understand that. And that's the other thing why I think it's important to talk to a doctor about your hormones and try to figure out what works for you, because I'm dealing with a wonderful doctor at the Mayo Clinic actually. And she said, do you want medication or do you want to do it holistically? Because she was ready to go whichever one I chose. And so I love that. So the thing that we need to get out is it doesn't have to be a patch. It could be herbs for you. It could be teas, meditation, whatever. But make sure you find out something that can help you. And the way you know that there are alternatives is by conversations like that, like this. There are alternatives. You do not have to suffer. Again, my thesis statement in life is I'm not going to be miserable. I refuse to be miserable. I'm gonna do everything I can to have a good time.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And that idea and just deciding gives you a path to then walk down.
Absolutely.
And so for me, for the first year, I was like, I'm just going to see if I can do it naturally.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know the book, Eat Like a Girl. It's with Dr. Mindy Pelz, but the whole idea is you eat for your hormones.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there tracking my cycle. I'm eating like pumpkin seeds when I'm like on progesterone and like I'm really working on it. And it didn't really improve. Yeah. So I do a hormone panel. And I go to the doctors and she looks at the panel. She goes to me, have you thought about committing suicide?
Holy crap, that's how low how bad your hormones were.
And I was like, no. She's like, well, are you majorly depressed? I was like, no.
I'm good.
And she's like, sometimes I get sad, but
well, we all do,
who doesn't? And she goes, I don't know how you've gotten through. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you have no hormones. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She goes, no, you have no hormones. And she's like, I don't know how you're actually functioning. The great news is she was like, you obviously believe in what you do enough to push through, which I really do.
But how many of us do that though? Like how many of us, like that's what I think is happening with me with being on the patch now. I think I'm realizing how much duress I was under and how I was able, because I'm overachiever. Because I'm an overachiever, I'm going to show up in the same way when I was on my cycle and it was a horrible cycle every month. I still went to the set of Community. I still did all my jobs. You do it gross, or you do it sad, or you do it depressed, and you still show up because not showing up is not an option. So you're able to push through. I think to myself now as I look at my energy these last couple of days, was I depressed? And I just didn't even know I was depressed. Like, holy crap.
Oh, in fact, I've got a question.
Yeah.
Let's tie this together. So you're single.
Yeah.
You build your self-esteem. You build the foundation. What do I want? I got my dreams. I want to
Yeah.
act. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do it. Is that partly why you may have ignored the symptoms?
Probably because I was busy.
Yeah.
You know what I
Because
mean?
you're building your self-esteem around your career.
Exactly. And because we want to show that nothing shakes us, I'm not going to let this shake me. Because I don't want to be the one that's like, oh, I can't come in because I have cramps. No, I'm going to go in. And it's going to be debilitating the entire day, but you won't see it on my face. And you won't see it in what I do in front of the camera. So then going back to the HRT and the need for that, now you can see it because now I'm in a flop sweat. And now I can't remember my lines. Or I'm hosting something and I can't remember what my thought was. And the person's looking at me like you were saying. You know, so all of that makes you go, I need some relief from this. And also, I wanted a better experience for Tony because I was very impatient. And I wanted him to have a good time too. So if my hormones are causing me to be short or to not bring joy into our daily lives in the same way you're bringing joy into our daily lives, then I need to figure out what's going on in my body.
That's beautiful. That was what made me go on to HRT. So for anyone that doesn't know, hormone replacement therapy. And I started on estrogen patch like you.
Did you feel a difference instantly?
I didn't immediately, but then I tried, I had progesterone. So estrogen is the patch and then the progesterone is the pill. Now, I haven't had a period in 12 years because I've had massive gut issues. So my period stopped ages ago. After a month, I got my period.
What was that
For the first time. It was a nightmare.
Yes.
My gut went in complete disarray. I was horizontal for 3 days.
Oh, honey.
But, look, I go, what's my goal?
Yeah.
Like any journey, it's never going to be smooth.
Right.
So this is the bump into the exploration of
Absolutely.
what it looks like to age with grace.
Absolutely.
So going back to making sure you're just listening to your body, paying attention to yourself, not white knuckling it. You said that earlier. How many of us just bloody white knuckle it? And then the final piece is you do appear to be extremely confident. At least you have high conviction in what you say and the way that you see things.
You know, I know to my core that I am a good person. I don't have any question about that. Do I drop the ball sometimes? Absolutely. But at my core, I want everybody to be okay. And so my confidence comes in knowing that I'm not a problem. My confidence comes in knowing that I care about people and I love people. My confidence comes in knowing that wherever I go, I'm supposed to be a source of refuge. I'm supposed to be a respite. So I'm very clear on what the call on my life is. My confidence comes in knowing who God made me to be and how I'm supposed to move in this world. And the beautiful thing about it is calling is not vocation. So I'm not confident because I'm on television. I'm not confident because people may know who I am. I'm confident because even if I'm on fries at McDonald's, I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be an asset, and I'm going to be a place that people can come if they're having a bad day. So there's confidence in where will God use me today? Where am I supposed to go? Instead of going, I'm in a line at the DMV, who is it? Who is supposed to get a load of me today? Not from an ego exercise, but in what has God deposited in me today specifically for someone in this room? And the joy and the fun becomes, if I'm in this line for an hour, I'm going to make sure I find them. I'm going to make sure they find me. I'm going to make sure that I'm open so that if they need me, they know that I'm safe. So that's how I move through life. So instead of walking into a room saying, what can I take? I walk in a room saying, what can I give? So there's joy in that. You can't feel bad about yourself because it's not about you. I don't walk in a room going, I hope they like me. It's okay if they don't like me. I just hope I'm available to them if they need me. It's a whole mind shift. And it's helpful in this business because there's so many rooms you walk in where the people that are tight and mean-spirited, they're, And I walk in and go, how you doing? You good? You good? All right, good to see you. You ain't about to get me off my square. I know what I'm here to do. So you can be nasty and hateful over there. We're going to be joyous and happy over here. And again, just like when I was in 5th grade, anybody that wants to come over here, sit right here. Let's talk about it. You're welcome.
So clearly faith is a very big thing for you. I love that. I personally don't believe in God, but I believe in something bigger than us, so I'm not even sure what that is. But when I meet people that have such high conviction like yourself, it usually comes so they have a lot of faith. And I think that's beautiful. You journal.
I do.
So what's your journaling look like? Because again, someone's listening right now. They desperately want your confidence, girl.
Journaling helps, and I wish I did it as much as I used to, because I don't, as a caregiver for my dad, and now I'm married, and I don't have time to sit down every night and go, this is what happened today. But I found that going back and reading journal entries from years ago helps me because I see how far I've come. That's half the battle, realizing that whatever mistakes you've made, you've overcome them. You've lived to fight another day. And then here's the other side of me that I will share that is going to shock people possibly because of how sunny my demeanor is. I'm very morbid. I'm very morbid. And my husband always laughs because something will happen that could be devastating. And my response is, we all gonna die anyway. That is my reset. Because if we're all gonna die, then nothing we're doing really matters that much. No one's opinion of us matters that much. How we even feel about ourselves on any given moment doesn't really matter that much. So now that I've assessed that we're all gonna die, we get one precious life as far as we know, what am I doing in this moment to make this the type of life that I wanna be proud of as long as I am here? And so I think my morbidity is the great equalizer. I don't take anything that seriously. I don't need a lot of stuff because when I die, I can't take it with me. The most amazing people that we know, that we love our entire life, once they pass, you very rarely hear their name said again, unless you're like a Michael Jackson or, a huge, huge, huge star. Most of the people that were super duper famous and greatly beloved, once they pass, their family and friends and the fan club president may talk about them. So does any of this really matter? What are we doing? If when I'm gone, I will be a footnote in history, except for the biggest Community and Drake and Josh fan. What do I really have? I have this moment with this being that's in front of me right now, and whatever beings happen to be watching us. What they get out of this hour we're chatting is really all that I have. So that means I'm going to deposit as much as I can in this moment. They won't remember my name, but they'll remember that one thing I said. So I have no control over when I leave here. I have no control over the reaction people have of me, but I have complete control over what I deposit in this world and what I leave behind, if people so choose to remember. It's not about being cute. It's not about being thin. It's not about being young, because we all gonna die and our bodies are all gonna change. But how you treat people and the love that you give, that is eternal. That's eternal. I heard this great speech, this great thing from Wilder Valderrama. He was talking about the great Robin Williams. I never had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Williams, but he was, of course, would get stopped all over. And Wilmer said, how do you have this overwhelming fountain of joy and kindness and time to give to people? And Mr. Williams said, I will be with them maybe a minute or two of my life. It will be a story that they tell for the rest of theirs. What story do I want them to tell about our time together? So it almost behooves me to make sure that I'm available to them. So in my mind, we each have the ability to make the picture pretty for other people. And I'm not saying be inauthentic. If you're not a happy person or life is tough for you, yes, that's real. Go to therapy. Get in your word if you're a person of faith. Go to church. Go to brunch with friends. Like, work on that, because you should, again, not going to be miserable. You should not go through life miserable. I get more from giving than I've ever gotten from receiving. When I'm able to pour into someone's life, that is the best feeling. When I'm able to celebrate and cheerlead for other people, that's why if you go to my Instagram page, I talk more about other people and their projects and what they're doing than I talk about what I'm doing. Because I get so excited when somebody's doing something great, and not just people I know. If you look at my reels and my stories, I got people I don't even know. I'm like, oh, so-and-so got married. I don't know them. So-and-so just has a new business. She's selling widgets. I don't know her, but I'm excited about the widgets. I get so excited when somebody wins. I want everybody to win. You know?
You're amazing.
Honey.
Oh my God, girl. Thank you. Your message today has been so amazing.
Oh, it makes me happy.
And I mean, honestly, I've seen you on TV, I've watched your movies, and having you here today and really diving into your story, and you've just given so many nuggets of gold.
Oh, it has been a joy. I am a huge fan of yours. I've followed your story and your husband's story. And again, my daddy eats Quest bars. So I've been a fan, but and this is funny, when I got the call, the email about doing the show, I was like, how does she even know that I exist?
Oh my God, are you joking?
Oh my God. So I said, it's Lisa? I went back, I said, no, tell her, well, I'll move whenever I have to. It's Lisa, I want to talk to Lisa. So I'm so excited to get to have this moment because I believe that you are creating a wonderful space for women to feel safe, to share their stuff, and you're helping people. So I am so honored to be on this couch looking at your Wonder Woman breastplate, and I'm excited.
I mean, when I saw you, I was like, I had no idea you even knew who I was. So,
honey, yes, I do.
But isn't it interesting that we both were just like, she wouldn't.
But that's because we don't think highly of ourselves, which I think we need more of that.
Yeah. Well, girl, you brought freaking knowledge today.
Yay.
Honestly, the thing that every single time I go back to, how do I serve my community?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that they need? And when it comes to self-esteem and confidence, it really does go to, as I age, am I less worthy? Fuck no.
Fuck no.
If I'm single, am I less than? Fuck no. Like all those things, should I have kids? Like there's so many things that we judge ourselves on, which is why I'm always trying to bring on women who've lived and walked the walk. And the fact that you've been able to stay so damn strong in your life with high conviction that you're worthy enough to find someone that is deserving of you is a message I hope every woman gets today, girl.
Yes.
So if people want to follow you and go deep into your world, where can they go?
So I'm at Yvette Nicole Brown just about everywhere. I'm at YMB on Twitter, although I'm not really.
I was going to say, your tweet? Yeah.
I don't really tweet anymore. Sometimes I'll go on if there's an important political thing that I feel like I need to amplify, because a lot of people are still on that app, but I just think it got really toxic. But everywhere else, pretty much, if you do at YMB or at Yvette Nicole Brown, you can find me.
Guys, no matter what you want in life, the reason why you come to this show is you know that you can build the skill sets, the confidence in order to go after it. It doesn't mean that you're always going to achieve that dream, but it's about the journey. Do you stand up? Do you walk in the room strong? And I really hope you learned today from Yvette what it means to really go deep and love yourself, to not just accept who you are, to evolve and to change and to grow, but to know that you never should ever settle for anything less than you deserve, whether that's a career or whether that's someone in your life. Don't ever settle for less. So guys, if you're not following me, follow me at Lisa Bilyeu. Smash that subscribe button down there if you're not already subscribed. But until next time, be the hero of your own life. Peace.
So good!
If you think that it's too late for love, then my homie, think again. Watch this right now and learn the 7 love lessons with my girl, Cindy Trim. Often when we're single, we have a voice in our head that make us feel like maybe you're never going to find anybody better than the person that you're with or the person that you last